This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the best online retailer for Magic the Gathering singles and sealed product. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 source for Magic the Gathering news and content.
Hey guys, Marshall here from Limited Resources, doing another video here on GatheringMagic.com, and we've opened up a heck of a nice pack here. Faded Intervention for our rare, quite strong. There's some other strong cards here. Asphyxiate, Tromper, Glimpse is pretty good. Nessian Courser's even pretty decent. Fall of the Hammer is probably the best common, and then these two cards are very playable as well. I'm actually going to just move in on Faded Intervention. Something to be said for not taking it, as triple green is pretty oppressive, but I think that the chance that we get back a Demoloch, a Swordwise Centaur, or a Tromper is pretty high here, and I like that. And plus, I think that Faded Intervention is just the most powerful card in that pack. I like green in the format as well, so I'm pretty okay with this. Follow the Hammer #2, or there's a Retraction Helix as well. Follow the Hammer is more powerful than Retraction Helix, but we also just passed one, plus we're going to be passing an archetype. I think these cards are fairly close. I'm going to take the Helix here. Not a lot as far as green goes, just an Unravel the Aether. There is a Chorus of the Tides and a Nullify. I'm going to take the Chorus here. Alright, the green cards are still kind of light, but there is a Peregrination, which is a card I like a lot. I like it for value. I also like it for fixing and kind of going deep. I'm going to take it here. Green looks like it's being cut a bit, though. There hasn't been much of it coming. Small sample size, so we're going to keep an eye on it, but it's certainly concerning when we've got the Faded Intervention. We'll know for sure when our open pack comes back around in a few picks here, because there was 3 very good green cards in that pack. If they're all gone, then we know that green is being pretty heavily drafted at the table, and we're probably going to have to jump ship, at least on the Faded Intervention. Okay, well, there's a Vanguard of Brimaz and a bunch of other good white cards, but white looks quite open here. I'm going to slam Vanguard, and this will give us a reasonable backup plan. Vanguard, Chorus of the Tides, and Retraction Helix is pretty decent if we just want to cut green out, depending on what comes back from that first pack, and kind of getting a feel for what's going on at the table. And this pack, this pack kind of manages to have nothing for us here in some ways. Syrian Blood's the best card here, but I guess I'm just going to take this Sphinx's Disciple and not be too happy with it, to be honest. I don't want another one, so I think I'm going to take this Eternity Snare, though. I'm not really that happy with that either. Mortal's Ardor seems fine here. Red is fairly open. Alright, well, the Tromper and the Swordwise Centaur came back, so I feel like green maybe is still a thing. Green-blue looks pretty good here. If we're green-blue, I think I'd rather have this Swordwise Centaur. Yeah, so we're okay here on green, I think. I think there just wasn't that much green in those packs. So if we do this, we still have a deck. This counts too. Not a great card, but it can do some stuff for sure. And I guess we will take this other Disciple, but playing both seems like a slim chance. And there's nothing really left. Well, not a great start, but not a bad start. I think we're somewhere in the middle. I think the Peregrination is actually quite good, even just in the single color deck here, because it can give us access to stuff like this, plus maybe like a light splash. Ooh, there's a light splash. Ashiok. Yeah, I think I like picking up an Ashiok here. We're in green, we should be able to splash for it, and there's nothing really screaming at us here anyway. I mean, I think we'd probably take a Prescient Chimera or something, but Ashiok's quite strong. And here's a Voyage's End or a Keepsake Gorgon, but I think that we want to stick to our guns on green and blue, and I think that Voyage's End versus Gorgon is a discussion, and if we're in blue anyway, we're just going to take the Voyage's End here. And here's a good green card with Leafcrown Dryad. I'll take that. Yeah, I think maybe one of these Disciples might make the cut. If we run good and get a bunch of playables, then probably neither will. Nessian Courser, absolutely. Yep. Definitely the pick there. Alright, we've reached a bit of a wall here. Sip of Hemlock's probably the best card in the pack. Sentry's quite strong as well, but we're miles away from that. So probably just playing the Fate Foretold, as there's no green or blue cards otherwise. And again, no green or blue, but there is a couple of options for us down here. An Opaline Unicorn means that we could maybe splash this or just ramp out something better. I think that's what I'm going to take here. Lash of the Whip is also a removal spell we could potentially splash, but I think Opaline Unicorn's better. It gets us from 3 to 5, and we do have some expensive cards here. So when you have a Fated Intervention in your deck, you definitely want to keep an eye out for things that not only ramp you, but also fix your mana like that. Ooh, Elspeth. Sweet. We'll take that for sure. And here's a Voyaging Satyr, which is definitely a card that we want for this type of deck. So things are coming around for us a bit here. Not much here. I guess I'll take a Thassa's Bounty in case we get into just a super grinder matchup. Agent of Horizon seems to fit the bill here, and we're moving along quite nicely now. We do have some stinkers in here. Starbreaker and these 2 Disciples. Eternity Snare is a little sketchy too, so we're not out of the woods yet, but I like where this has gone later. I love picking up these 2 3-drops here. I think the Unicorn will probably be pretty good in our deck, and a Voyaging Satyr is great. So do we stymie hopes or do we annul? I think I'd actually rather have access to stymied hopes. Annul is not the disenchant of choice for us. We already have half of one, and then green has a few others floating around that we can pick up if we really want one. And here's a Shredding Winds for the sideboard. Love having one of those around. All right, one more pack to go. We're approaching playables, though. Like I said, we've got some stuff in here that probably isn't quite in that category. So filling out down here and a little bit up here I think is going to be nice for us. Any bounce spells that we can get, we're going to take as well. You know, ideally we leave this pack with another Voyage's End and maybe a Grip Tide. We cut these Disciples and this Starbreaker and fill those in with a couple of better 5s. Oh, baby. That I can deal with. That's a nice one. Bow of Nylea. Love it. Snapping that up. But yeah, anything that we can do to kind of keep things at bay. Like if I could exchange these 2 Disciples for Nessian Asps and, you know, maybe just beef up our early game a little bit, I think our chances become very, very nice here. Flyers could be an issue for our deck. We've got a Leafcrown Dryad. The bow kills the small ones. But these don't really count. Like, I'm just going to hide these for now. I'm not saying that they're impossible to make the cut, but yeah, the idea of the deck is that they don't. Like, these are the cards we actually are going to be playing. I like where this went. Love picking up the bow. I think Peregrination's still quite good in the deck, especially if we pick up a Nessian Asp or something, just because you do need a lot of mana to get that monstrosity going. Okay, this one's not quite as good as a Bow of Nylea, but a Time Defeat is fine. We'll take it. Goes better again with Nessian Asps and the like. We want some 5s and 6s for sure. I think that's kind of what's missing at this point. Maybe one more bounce spell and some 5s and 6s of good quality would be nice. Okay. Triton Tactics, Sea God's Revenge. I'm going to take Sea God's Revenge here. I think our deck can do some work with that. Tactics is pretty good, but we are looking a little more on the defensive side. Nylea's Disciple also gets a nod here, honestly. Like, that actually might just be the pick. Nylea's Disciple is interesting here. Gains us life, blocks, and works okay with Time Defeat. I still think it's a Sea God's Revenge, though. That thing can just get us out of positions that we just can't deal with. Scorpion or Horizon Chimera. We could hope to wield the Chimera, but I'm not that hopeful, and we want it for the deck, so I'm going to take it. An Amulet or a Bronze Sable. There's nothing else for us. Probably just want the Bronze Sable here. We've got Peregrination. We've got a Satyr Wayfinder. I think we're going to be able to find our mana. Yeah, I guess not. I'll take it. Vulpine Goliath. Oh, there's a Voyaging Satyr as well, though. We can do a lot with our mana here. I'm going to take the Satyr. We're getting a little bit down. There we go. Down to our last few picks here, but yes, this is nice. Still don't quite have that top end that we'd really, really like to see, but I think it'll work out fine. And we still do have a perfectly reasonable top end as well. Hunt the Hunter. I guess a Hunt the Hunter for the mirror or for going against green is pretty decent. Hippo. I think we might actually run one of those Sphinx's Disciples too. All right, we got this Lash of the Whip back, and I'm going to take that for sure. That might actually just make the cut. We never did get the other bounce spell, so this kind of fills that role of one more removal spell, basically. And I think we can splash it pretty confidently, especially if we don't mind playing that that Amulet, which I don't think we mind playing it. If we play it, we probably don't even need to play the Satyr Wayfinder, though I don't think it's too bad in the deck. Let's see what we got. Helix, Foretold, Hippo maybe. I think we want one Sphinxes maybe. Oop. No, yeah. Probably. I think this is what our deck looks like roughly. I'd like to have this Satyr Wayfinder. I think it's just kind of good in a deck like this. Like it chump blocks, it can protect Ashiok for a turn, can buy us another turn with Bow of Nylea or whatever. I just don't know if we have room for it. Another thing I can do is cut Fate Foretold, which we're not really abusing here. I just kind of wanted something to do early to keep our mana flowing, but I guess that's probably not, or keep our draws flowing, but that's probably not good enough. So let's get rid of that. Time Defeat is mediocre in this deck. I guess this is our deck. Yeah, this looks pretty good. We'll play an Amulet. We will play 2 Swamps. No, I think we really only need the one. I need to make room for one more because I think I want to play 17 lands in an Amulet here. I'm okay. This feels like a perfectly fine 18 land style deck here. So let's get another one of those in there. And then what are we cutting? Eternity Snare seems to be the obvious one. I'll bring that in case we play against like a deck that can actually Voltron us up or whatever. So, all right, there's our deck. Let's see what it can do.